Good morning, children. Many times we've used the word bargain. What does it mean? It means to give and take something like an agreement two people can have. One gives something to get some benefit of it. But we many a time misuse this bargain. We use power, wealth, beauty to get something in return. Rabindranath Tagore, in his poem The Last Bargain, beautifully shows how we should not focus on material things. So, before we start reading the poem, let's get to know our poet, the very well known Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore was born on 7th May in Calcutta in the year 1861. He was also known by many names, some of which you can see. He was also a Bengali poet, a writer, music composer and painter. He has won several awards, including the Nobel Prize in Literature. His famous works are Gitanjali, Gora, Rabindra Sangeet, and of course, India's national anthem Jana Gana Mana and Bangladesh's national anthem Amar Shonar Bangla. He died in Calcutta on 7th August at the age of 80. So now let us begin with the reading of the poem The Last Bargain. "Come and hire me," I cried, while in the morning I was walking on the stone-paved road. Sword in hand, the king came in his chariot. He held my hand and said, "I will hire you with my power." But his power counted for naught, and he went away in his chariot. In the heat of the midday, the houses stood with shut doors. I wandered along the crooked lane. An old man came out with his bag of gold. He pondered and said, "I will hire you with my money." He weighed his coins one by one, but I turned away. It was evening. The garden hedge was all aflower. The fair maid came out and said, "I will hire you with a smile." Her smile paled and melted into tears, and she went back alone into the dark. The sun glistened on the sand and the sea waves broke wavedly. A child sat playing with shells. He raised his head and seemed to know me and said, "I hire you with nothing." From henceforward, that bargain struck in child's play made me a free man. Now let us understand the poem in detail. In the first stanza, we get to know that the speaker of the poem is jobless and he is looking for a job. He goes around asking everyone for help. As you can see, he was walking on a stone-paved road, a road covered with stones. And sword in hand, one king came in his chariot. A chariot is a vehicle drawn by horses used by kings in the past. But his power counted for naught, meaning it was unimportant to him, and he went away in his chariot. So even though the man offered power, this speaker felt it was unimportant because power is temporary. He didn't feel that it would help him in any way. In the second stanza, in the heat of the midday, so midday is afternoon, the houses stood with shut doors. Shut doors meaning everyone was indoors and their doors were closed. I wandered along the crooked lane. Crooked here would mean a lane that is not straight, or it may be turned inward and twisted. Wandered is roaming aimlessly without any aim in life or goal. An old man came out with his bag of gold. And he pondered. Pondered is to be thoughtful or thinking before you decide anything. So he carefully decided. And he said, "I will hire you with my money," says that old man. He weighed his coins one by one, but I turned away. So here the speaker felt that those gold coins offered won't last him very long. Sooner or later they will be spent and get used. So he rejected this offer as well. Now let us go to the next page. It was evening. The garden hedge was all aflower. Hedge is a fence full of bushes. And it was all aflower, meaning there were a lot of flowers bloomed there. So it was like a garden filled with flowers. There he saw a fair maid, a lady, who was very beautiful, and came out and said, "I will hire you with a smile." But slowly her smile paled away, meaning it slowly started fading and disappearing away and turned into tears, means she was sad. And then she went alone into the dark. So this also shows that her smile was temporary and wouldn't last forever. Now the last stanza. The sun glistened on the sand and the sea waves broke wavedly. Glistened here is shone, meaning the past form of shine. Sun was shining on the sand and the sea waves broke wavedly, meaning not straight, it was all crooked or disobediently, not in a proper manner. A child sat playing with shells. He raised his head and seemed to know me and said, "I hire you with nothing." So there he meets a child who was sitting and playing innocently with shells. And when he looked at the speaker felt as if he knew him. And he said, "I hire you with nothing." So from henceforward, that bargain struck in child's play made me a free man. Meaning from then on, this speaker felt like he was a free man. The job the child had offered him was just to play with him. He didn't have any money or anything to offer. And the speaker accepts this offer because he felt that bargain would set him free from the clutches of wealth, power, earthly happiness, all temporary material things. He accepted this innocence, this simplicity of this child, and the goodness of this child. So, as you can see, what lasts long is the goodness of a person and not the material things. The simplicity in yourself and having pure happiness in your life, that's what lasts forever. The poet calls it the last bargain because after accepting the child's offer, he never had to accept any other offers. He felt as if he had everything. So I hope you enjoyed this poem, children, and I hope you understood and learned something from it. Thank you, children. Have a wonderful day ahead.